I'm James Helder, welcome to Full Court Football 24. With me I've got former Basingstoke Town, Gosport Borough, Wimbledon Town, Bashley, Bournemouth, Gosport Borough, BAT Sports, AFC Lymington, Eastleigh, Wilmington Town, Sutton United, Fleetwood, Gosport and most recently again Sutton United, Wayne Shaw. How are you, mate?
Hello, mate. How are you, James?
I'm very well. Got to say, good to meet you. Good to get you on the channel.
Yeah, it's good. Nice little drive up this morning, so yeah, all good.
Now, it's almost 3 years to the day to that moment that has sort of immortalised you in FA Cup history. Such a big moment with Sutton United and Arsenal and the whole controversy of Piegate, the aftermath of that. I mean, you've become somewhat of a local superstar through it.
Well, it was all about the lads, to be fair. But yeah, no, I've had 32 years, people shouting and chucking pies, and who ate all the pies. And I thought, well, it's my opportunity. I'm 47 years old at the time. My last little throw of the dice, as it was, and just a bit of banter. And yeah, Piegate is gone down in history.
When you were sitting on the bench and you was just about to eat that pie, what went through your head?
Really, it was like the supporters, the Arsenal supporters, obviously having a little sing-song as well. And then I managed to get hold of the pastry at half-time, and I just thought, when the third sub went on, I know I wasn't going on, and I just give it the old...
What was the reaction of the crowd and the players when they'd realised what you was doing?
It obviously didn't come to fruition till really right after the game.
Really?
And then the next morning, it just went viral.
Explain the reaction to me. Explain what happened in the Shaw household when you woke up the next day and saw the news and the papers and Sky Sports and stuff.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. Obviously, after the manager gave his interview for Sky Sports, literally there was probably 6 to 8 paparazzis outside my house trying to get a story. But to be honest, there never was a story. It was just, like I say, just all a bit of banter.
Now, we're going to get deep into Piegate. We are going to explain and go through everything and all the facets of around it. But I think to do your story justice and to get to that point, we need to look back. We need to start at the start of your journey. We need to look at your upbringing, your growing up, and how you got to that moment in time, if you like. So I'd like to start right at the very beginning.
Well, obviously the beginning for me was obviously playing from the age of 11. And then literally when I was 15, I was an associated schoolboy at Saints, and I was playing centre-half at the time. And then I got released from Southampton, and then I went to Reading, done my apprenticeship there. But in between times, I was playing football with the youth team in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I was going back and play for BAT in goal. So obviously centre-half and getting a couple of games, and then playing on a Sunday as well. So that's where it all started for me, and that's where I got the little goalkeeping bit. And then from then on, done my apprenticeship at Reading. Moved on, went into non-league with Basingstoke, and then literally played the first game. I was sub for about 5 or 6 games, and then Bashley come in for me. Played the first game up front. They had a signing called Jason Lovell. They paid £6,000 for him. They got me for nothing. And then we had a goalkeeping dilemma. Trained on a Tuesday night. The manager said, "I've seen you playing goal once before." So I played on the Saturday, trained on the Tuesday, Thursday, like I said, in the evening. Went and got myself a pair of gloves. And then as we were walking out, we played Salisbury away. Manager said, "Keep a clean sheet, there's an extra 20 quid in it." We won 1-0 and I never looked back. And that was 1989, 1990.
So that was officially, you're now a goalkeeper. That's the start of your official goalkeeper journey.
Yeah, that was the start of it, like I say, at Bashley. And then, been there ever since, up until obviously 3 years ago, as we say now, and just playing charity stuff now and don't do nothing else.
Now, the roly-poly goalie moniker or tag, as you've come to be known as, is quite a brutal nickname, but quite a jovial nickname as well. How do you sort of like that tag?
Yeah, and how it come about, we were playing Weymouth, and I was playing for Eastleigh, And obviously, being a large lad like I am, I was having a bit of banter with the fans. Literally, I was doing a sumo impression, like pretending to hide behind the goalpost that they couldn't see me, and just having all a bit of fun. And the next day, it was quite funny because it was the Sunday Sport actually run a page, obviously centre page or 4 pages if you want to say it. But they just they put up the 20-stone roly-poly goalie, and that's how it come about. And like I say, it was all done in good jest, and obviously the Weymouth, and it just escalated from there.
When you were going to grounds, sort of away grounds and stuff, would that chant be thrown at you? Would the fans sort of...
Oh, a lot worse than that.
Yeah, really?
The abuse you get behind the goal is...
I suppose you're closest to the fans as well.
Yeah, you can hear it. And obviously, if they're having a go at me, they're not having a go at anyone else. So, obviously, broad shoulders and a large head like yourself, mate. We take it all on our chins, as we say.
No, I've got a large head as well. So you must have become sort of thick-skinned to not bite at all the abuse you got. Because I know you've had your odd moments where your temper has got the better of you on the field over the years. Yeah,
I think there's only so much stick you can take, and at times, like I say, they push you to the limit sometimes, and then obviously, playing all my time in non-league as well, you're having to get up for work at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and then like literally you finish work, you grab a sandwich or you grab something, and then you're on the road again, and sometimes you're not getting in till 1 or 2 in the morning, and sometimes you get a bit tired, you get a bit irritable, and your fuse sometimes does snap, and you're only human, and there's only so much you can take.
Interesting. Let's talk a little bit about you going to Sutton United, because your goalkeeping role was just one part of many facets to what you did at the club. The club's sort of a family-run club. I'm getting the feel everybody sort of mucks in and pulls in together. Explain to me that start of that journey.
Yeah, really, the start of the journey was obviously once we got the 3G fitted. The manager had this vision for where he wanted the club to go. They had a lot of games called off with weather, with the pitch how it was, and obviously revenue streams for a non-league club is massive. And when you actually lose a game on a Saturday, you could have 500 people there on a Saturday. When it goes to a Tuesday night, you're likely to get 180. So that doesn't help with budget and playing wise as well. So the manager sold me the dream, really. Doz was a good friend, and obviously I played for the club before. I was goalkeeping coach and second choice goalkeeper in the eras when Scriven was there, Kev Scrivs. We used to travel up. He was at Basingstoke, and we went training twice a week. We went to mornings as well, so we tried to get the best out of the players. And once the 3G got fitted, obviously it was for the whole community. So the actual, I think, from under 8s right the way through the junior section could all train on the pitch, and they didn't have to go out and source facilities to get their training. So everything was in house, and that really did become the hub of the community. And obviously, me at the front of it, looking after the 3G facility, taking the beer deliveries in, and just literally everything. And it was a fantastic time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
What people don't realise is by the time this 3G pitch was being fitted, this was your third stint at Sutton, wasn't it? The third time you've been involved as a player, a coach, and with the club. Yeah,
obviously, I left twice before, one under a cloud again, with the Kingstonian supporters. Had a little bit of altercation with them, and then obviously another time when the travelling was a bit too much with work facilities. I couldn't do the football; it got in the way. And then literally the third time back was a full-time position within the football club. So yeah, my get up at 5 o'clock on a Monday morning. Literally, used to, like the sofa you got here, I used to sleep on a 2-seater sofa in the.
I wouldn't like to see you on that set, lad. Tell you, if I come in at 8 in the morning and you were stretched out on there, I'd go on.
I did have a little bit of privacy, like we got in here, but yeah, literally stayed at the football club Monday to Thursday. After training on a Thursday, used to shoot on home, and then have Friday off. and then obviously Saturday travelling all around the country, and again sometimes getting in at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. So Sundays was really my day off, Fridays and Sundays, but and then up ready to go again. And obviously being a family as well, it was it's quite tough on the wife and the two girls and the dogs that we got in the household. Obviously me not being around for probably 5 days of the week. So,
would you say the football and the quality of the football and the standard of football went right up when the 3G pitch was fitted? Because am I guessing before there would be a lot of sort of stress with the training to find pitches, a lot of waterlogged pitch, a lot of mud. Guessing it's not conducive to playing football.
Yeah, no, we used to train in a couple of various places. At Sutton, Surrey Sports Park was one of them, on a 3G facility there. And again, we went to morning training Tuesdays and Thursdays just to try and get the best out of the lads with what you got. Because, like I said earlier on, when you're working as well, when you're travelling around the country, you're working all day and it is a 16, 18 hour even for training, getting to training. Some of the lads are and you don't really get the best out of the boys in the evening. They're a bit fatigued, and so we decided to do the morning training, try and get a little bit of extra advantage. That probably 10-20% you could probably get better out of them. And like I say, Surrey Sports Park, and then we trained up in just off the A3. The university up there. Again, that was grass pitches, and then obviously they decided to get the 3G facility at the football club. And again, all the lads ate together after training and got that probably camaraderie and that team spirit and that bonding.
We've had many players on this channel, and everybody speaks about the camaraderie and bonding. What's it like in the lower leagues? And do you guys sort of have annual nights out, or how does it sort of all fit in?
Yeah, it carries your way through. Exactly the same as a pro lads, really. You try and get out probably every 3 months. Whether it be just out for a game of bowling or a game of golf, or just literally go and have a few beers and a night out. Normally, what we used to do is if we had an away trip that's probably 4 or 5 hours, we would stay overnight. So we would stay overnight on the Saturday night. I'd travel up to the game, and then we would have a night out after the game, and then literally come back on the Sunday. And your Christmas parties are renowned, like anything, like all the pro lads, and yeah, literally anything like that. But obviously at Sutton it's a little bit different because lads were coming from all different areas. You had some lads from Kent, you had some lads from Bristol, so again it was difficult to tie it down. But like I say, when we ate together after training and stuff like that, you literally had an hour or two afterwards, and you spend a lot of more time with the lads than you do with your actual family. So it does become family orientated, and not everyone sees eye to eye, but you just get on and you make acquaintances more than good friends, really.
Do you get a lot of prima donnas at that level? Are there players that have played at a high level that come down that are sort of hard to deal with, or find maybe don't integrate as well with the players that have been at that level for a longer time?
Yeah, I think again it's adjusting. I never forget that the first time that I actually come out of when I left Reading and I went to Basingstoke, and like I say, I was an outfield player. My cousin was a right back, well established Southern League player, Southern Premier, which would equivalent now to probably the conference football. And literally we were in training, and I had moulds on, he had studs on, and it's pre-season, and he scraped me down the back of the calf, Achilles, and I just spent the rest of the time just chasing him around, trying to get him back, really. And he just said to me, "Welcome to non-league football," and that's always stuck in my mind. And like I say, it's a total different ball game out there, and today's day and age, the big money's in the Premier League and the Championship, and everyone else is fight for survival.
Would you say the physicality or the non-physicality that we've seen sort of in the top leagues, where it's not as common to see players committing to 50-50s or higher tackles as much as they did in the past, would you say that's filtered down to the lower league level, where players aren't as sort of aggressive, if you like?
I think it's all, non-league. You play the leagues. To get into the Premier League, you've got to play the three other leagues and to whatever level or standard that's required. If it's a passing game and you trust in that, then yeah. If it's like the old school long ball Wimbledon type, that if that gets you out of that division, then that's the way you try and set up and play. And along the way, you've got to bring players in that are adaptable to where you want to go.
Let's talk about this iconic cup run for Sutton United, your involvement in it, and how it all sort of manifested and started from your point of view and from Sutton's point of view that season.
Well, it was unbelievable because we actually drew Forest Green in the first literally, I think it might have been the fourth qualifying round, and they were at the time top of the league, what we were in, and literally the manager let probably 4 or 5 players play on loan for like the parent club. When they were on loan, they let the lads play in that game, and we actually, I think we won for 2-1 or 1-0. I can't remember what it was really, but literally that was the first. Then we actually went on that run, that historic run, and.
Must have been buzzing after beating Forest Green to come back. They're top of your league as well. Must have put a real good feel factor into Sutton.
Yeah, it was one of them. It was a free hit for us. We weren't expected to get through. Then we drew Dartford, and it was probably one of the best games of football of that time. I think it was 6-3. The game, it was end to end, and it was fantastic. And then I think we drew Cheltenham, and then we drew Wimbledon. Before you
draw Cheltenham, are you guys wishing and hoping to draw the biggest teams possible at this stage, or are you thinking we want to get a game that is probably winnable for us?
Yeah, I think the longer it goes on, you want to get a winnable game, and at the end of the day, the prize money for the club was massive. A home draw is always good advantage as well. Like I say, we drew Cheltenham. Again, Deeks has come up. We've won. I think we beat them 2-1. And then again, along the way, I used to do it was called a draw with Shaw. So I'd have a bit of memorabilia from the game on the Saturday. So the draw would be made on a Monday evening. Everyone would be in the bar. I would be there and selling raffle tickets and having a bit of fun.
Brilliant.
And yeah, literally along the way, just trying to make it that extra few quid for the football club. And again, that got all the supporters together, and the boys would have a couple of lads would come down for the draw as well. And like I say, obviously Cheltenham, we beat them. And then we drew Wimbledon, which was fantastic. Obviously, local derby. We drew at home. No one gave us any chance of getting anything away from them. And the best thing was obviously, the winners of that game actually was drawn at home to Leeds. And again, we went there. I think we beat them 3-1, 2-1? 2-1, 3-1. And it was just fantastic. And that was probably the game when you think, this could be happening for the football club now. And then obviously we drew Leeds at home. We beat them 1-0. And again, like I say, along the way, the supporters, and then obviously the draw was made for the fifth round. And obviously we drew Arsenal, and that was absolutely unbelievable. Literally, the roof come off.
I can imagine. I can absolutely imagine. When you guys had beaten Leeds, what was the feeling amongst the players and the fans and the whole sort of town, if you like?
Well, I think the whole cup run brings everyone together as well. I think we had a few great crowds. There was 5,000 plus along the way. So, the gate receipts alone from them games, and it just financially set the club up for probably 5 years with the amount of money that they earned on that cup run. And like I say, for a community club, it was just absolutely massive.
After the Leeds game, as an entity and as a person, were you starting to get more mainstream media attention at that point? Were there sort of things coming about?
Yeah, I think really from the Arsenal game, they had me sat on a bench or slouched on the bench. Sorry, from the Leeds game when I was the Leeds game. Yeah. There was a few things on the Wimbledon Wimbledon game as well, where I was on the bench, and there was a bit of me warming up, saying, he could be playing in the next round. But yeah, and then like I say, from the Leeds game, there was a little bit in the dugout and stuff like that, and then literally the story going out on the Arsenal game.
Talk to me about the draw, about getting the draw first initially and drawing Arsenal.
Yeah, we had obviously Craig Eastman was ex-Arsenal lad, come through the ranks, and our centre half Simon Downer, he was a massive Gooner supporter, and literally I remember seeing something that was put on Facebook when the draw was made. He was obviously at home, and he just literally jumped up and just run out the front door, and he was just running around like a wild man. But yeah, it was stuff of dreams are made of, really, and just to be part of it. But like I say, from that moment when that draw was made, it was 3 weeks non-stop.
Really? Well, like press, people wanting
quotes? Yeah, press. Obviously, I was doing replica shirts right the way through, because obviously we had shirts for Leeds, we had shirts for AFC Wimbledon, and obviously the supporters wanted these shirts as well. And like I say, along the way it was down to me to sort the replica shirts out, and we were I was working with the people in the club shop, getting the two scarves, or each side scarf, split scarves, bobble hats, literally everything, just to try and make a few quid for the club. And tracksuits for the lads, literally, and everyone wants a piece of you.
I can imagine. It's a real turn of events, and the spotlight's just been shone on you guys and the club, and everybody's talking about it. It's at this point where we see certain stories appearing online. For instance, the ability to place a bet on yourself to eat a pie during the Arsenal game, which sounds pretty trivial, and it sounds like something that's made up. But these events actually took place.
Yeah, believe it or not, probably 2 days before, someone literally in Carshalton, emailed me and said, "This has come through," and they were estate agents when I was doing stuff in the community with obviously going around to the local schools and stuff, and they just said, "Is this going to happen?" And I looked at it, and it's like 8-1 to eat a pie live on the telly, and along the way, obviously some bets come in. And took that one game on as the main sponsor for that one game, and we had Malcolm from Gringo Waste, who was supported the club, and I think still does. He was fantastic. He actually stepped aside and said, "Look, just for the club to make more money," and that's what he done, and that, again, community and everything that he's done for the football was fantastic, because no disrespect, he's actually put his money where his mouth is when we weren't well known as such, and there's things like that help the club. And like I say, some bets come in, they had access all areas. In hindsight, was it a good move from the football club? Me personally, no. Could we have dealt with the press better? I think we needed advice that we didn't get, because, like I say, it was like a circus, And even on the day, on the Thursday was a press day. It was just like absolutely crazy, and obviously they were trying to get interviews all the way along from different players, and like I say, some bets they come in for that one game, and like I say, it just escalated from there, really.
As anything, such a buzz around a big game. Everybody's looking for tickets. Your phone must have been going mad at people. Wayne, get us tickets for the Arsenal game. We need to come, etc.
Yeah, James, it was obviously through the rounds. I had tickets to Leeds games. Obviously, Sutton Common Rovers play at our ground as well, and they were brilliant supporters along the way for us. And they were having tickets, the Leeds, the Wimbledon game, because they were sellout crowds. And literally, on Thursday was a press day, and it was like access all areas for people.
You've got to do the press day. You've then got to sort all the tickets out. So at this point, you've got the tickets. I'm taking.
Yeah, so we played, I think, a Fylde or somewhere on the Tuesday, stayed overnight, come back on the Wednesday, got back about 4:00 in the afternoon. I remember it greatly, mate. And all the tickets for the Arsenal game, I was prepared, ready to give out on the Thursday after training, and I had about 30 tickets. All written up.
Bearing in mind, these tickets must be like gold dust at this point, because everybody, I remember the buzz about it, everybody and their nan wanted tickets for this game.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. It was unreal, and I think the lads, I think we had 5, we could manage to get 5 tickets each. Again, we obviously pay for them, and I managed to, people along the way that I got tickets for, literally cut by half and half again, because I could only get 30 tickets. For these people that supported us all along the way. And yeah, unfortunately, mate, when the media day, there was obviously, people in and around the place, and I had my ticket stolen, I must say, and
No
some
way.
money out my wallet. Yeah, and that was media day on the Thursday. Yeah, and
so it's someone you've let into the club, maybe not you, like the club have got certain media groups coming down, and it had to only be one of those people.
Yeah, definitely. It was, there was no one else in it.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and the thing is, mate, like I say, that put a dampeners on it as well. And I did kick up a bit of fuss on the Thursday, these things go on, mate, and it's gutting.
Not that them tickets, as you know, they were for people's dads and lads and
genuine
fans.
One of them, literally, a lovely fella and his son. I got them tickets all the way through. I said to them I was struggling to get tickets for this game, and they said not to problem. But I did manage to get him a sit-down ticket as well, because he's an elderly gentleman with not in the greatest house. And these people actually stole the tickets, mate.
Was you out of pocket then yourself for these tickets, or did the club sort something out?
No, obviously, I went straight to the manager and the chairman and said, what had gone on, and like I say, I only realised because I had money out of my wallet as well, and the tickets were gone, and like you say, they were like gold dust. So yeah, they had, whoever was in there, they from the media, they obviously knew what they were up to, and probably them 30 tickets, mate. If you work it out, there's probably over £1,000 worth of tickets there.
Easy.
So, and like you say, we only had a capacity of 5,000, and someone's obviously made a few quid out of that, and that was very disappointing for me, mate.
Let's jump into the morning of Arsenal coming to Gander Green Lane to play Sutton United in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Talk to me about that morning from your point of view.
Well, it was obviously we had a light training session early in the morning, and I was literally putting the nets up. Because obviously we had new nets going up. They had to be put up. There was obviously cameras going in on the nets.
So you're there actually doing the nets yourself?
Yeah. They were meant to have been done on the Friday, but the job didn't get done. So literally I had to sort that out then. And along the way as well, obviously with it being a 3G, not a lot of people know, you've actually got to, when the draw was made, up until then, or up until the game, it has to pass certain qualifications for the bounce of the ball, the run, and everything else. Yeah, so each season it has to get signed off just to say that you can play at that level. And again, with it being the 5th round of the FA Cup, the FA, FIFA approved, they wanted to make sure that the pitch was right. I think we literally done it probably 5 days before. Just so it had the proper rubber stamp of approval. And like I say, we had new nets, and I was putting them nets up the morning of the game. Again, later on in the I didn't even get to go up to we were at the Holiday Inn at Sutton. Didn't even get to go there for the pre-match meal. Literally, I was hoovering the dugouts and just making sure the changing room areas were clean and tidy, ready for the Arsenal boys to come in.
The ground, the demand for tickets is sky high. Sutton of getting record gates and stuff. Arsenal coach is pulling into the car park. What's going through Wayne Shaw's mind at this point?
It's just trying to get a glimpse of the players that were coming through. Arns
You guys are standing there all excited, trying to see. What's going
obviously
on.
You walk on the pitch. To be fair to Arsenal, they were already prepped, ready, come. They were in the changing room. Mindset was, they're there to win a game. They went out. They were thoroughly professional in what they'd done. Literally, so. They rocked up at 6:30, and they were probably gone by 10 o'clock, and that is how professional that they'd done it. But yeah, going through the mind, it's just it was just in awe, really. You look at, you only see these players on TV. You never really get next to them.
Was some of the hype hard to deal with? I mean, at this point, everybody's watching the whole thing's magnified from everyone's point of view. Do you think the hype was something that you guys weren't used to and maybe didn't handle as well as you could have?
No, I think the lads were superb. I think the lads were fantastic, and to only get beat 2-0 as well, and we had a couple of chances as well, and the dream was always to try and get them back to the Emirates if we could, and the lads stuck to their guns and they were superb. So really, from that point of view, no, the lads, they handled every situation really, really well, and sometimes you just try and put a barrier between it and, just try and block it out. And, they did do that.
The game has become as infamous for the result as it has for the actions at half-time. Can you explain to me how it all sort of manifested and how it happened and what went on?
Yeah, to be honest, I've never watched the game back. It did put a dampeners on me, obviously, what happened afterwards. It was just like half time. It's just one of them things. I just thought I always went in with the ball boys in the back area of the bar. You had to go through the bar, and the ball boys would always have chips and an orange squash at half time, just to warm them up, as well as just feed them as well. And the same, I always used to go in and hey lads, how you doing, and have a little bit of fun with them. And like I say, they were mascots and they were ball boys as well. So it was really. I didn't do anything different, and I thought, you know what, I just want to have a bit of fun, and I got myself the pastry at half time and wrapped it in my gloves, in between my towel.
In the goalie gloves.
Yeah, in the goalie gloves, in me rolled in a towel, when I put the towel on the side, and I just thought, let's have a bit of fun. Like I say, 83rd minute, I think it was. All the subs were on, and that was my thing. But
that's where the iconic image comes from that 83rd minute.
Yeah, the 83rd minute. Yeah, and again, it was meant no other way, and no way did I want to distract from what the lads achieved, and the management team and everyone at the football club. But obviously I got lumbered with the story. Obviously to come out with me on the end, and literally, we'll probably go through it in a minute, but I didn't tell anyone about any gambling or any inside information. So,
well, like we mentioned, there was a random crazy bet that you would eat a pie. Now, from what I can gather from looking into it, the most total sums of money paid out was £2,600 on that bet. So I'm guessing if you was gonna mastermind a gambling-esque type fraud, if you like, your gains would be more than £2,600, or not suggesting that you got that, but from the whole incident.
There was some novelty bets running around, and a dog running on the pitch. I think the lights to go off, a streaker, and to be honest, there was a streaker went on the pitch, but no one saw that unless you were live at the game, because I think
that weren't you again, was it?
No. Oh dear, what the thong on there. Imagine me running around. Yeah, definitely wasn't me. Probably wish I had of now. I wouldn't have got into so much trouble. But yeah.
Funny. So, right, you've had the pie. Everything as people, probably not as many people have noticed at the time. As we've mentioned, the photographers managed to capture them iconic images, which then went viral. The story's then blown up. Take me from the dressing room. Take me from what happened at that.
Well, I didn't even go back in the dressing room because there was people swinging on the goal. I was trying to get people off the pitch. Literally damaging. There was literally, I think, down at the Arsenal end, there was a flare went on the pitch.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just
Sutton ultras.
Yeah, I was just more worried about the damage that was being done to the pitch, and also to the goals. With people swinging on them.
That was a genuine concern of yours then, because how hard the club had worked and the money that's spent, and the level that they couldn't really afford them damages.
No, and obviously after the game, everyone gets pushed in different directions, and obviously my main concern was people swinging on the goals, just to get them off, and obviously meet up with my wife and my daughter and her boyfriend that was travelled up from Southampton for the game. I was so looking forward just to having probably 3 days away from it, totally. Not planning to go back to work on until the Thursday, and like I say, it just got all blown out of all proportion. Literally, I had a phone call from literally probably 10:15 that night from Good Morning Britain. They wanted me to go on the on Good Morning Britain the next morning, and I said, look, to be fair, I want to go home, but at the end they picked me up, they put me in a hotel in Wimbledon, and then they took me to the TV studios the following morning at about 5:30.
So you've gone from chasing people out from swinging on the goal to then waking up the next morning with Piers on Good Morning Britain.
Yeah.
Going live across the whole nation.
Yeah, and again, it was
surreal.
I didn't even know. Literally, my phone. I didn't really sleep that night neither, and my phone was just going ping, 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 and I thought, what's going on? And literally on Twitter, I think I had about 600 followers, and I literally went to about 18,000. It was like crazy. I think they said at the time you're trending. I didn't even know what that went anyway. But yeah, we were having a bit of banter the next day with Piers Morgan on the couch there and having a bit of fun. And I think he's pulled out about 4 pasties and said, like, Arsenal are looking for a keeper. If we give you 4 pasties, will you sign for us? And I sort of make it 6 and you got a deal.
It seemed like he was very supportive, because I remember the episode. I remember it airing, obviously a football fan myself. He seemed like he was very supportive and very, very sort of enthusiastic and trying to be helpful and supportive in the whole incident.
Yeah, second time round. But obviously, I don't think that people realise the magnitude that it went to. And obviously, he was asking me a few questions, and I just said, yeah, about betting it. I said, yeah, there'd probably be a pie and a pint waiting for me at my local. And literally, that is how I said it. And after that, it just all blew out of all proportion. And the press, like the press are, literally got their teeth into it, and they were trying to say, obviously, about this betting.
So cracking that joke, and maybe not having the media training to deal with Piers' question, then caused you all sorts of problems, mate.
Yeah, and like you say, you were talking about the paparazzi outside the door. Literally, when I left the studio, my car was back at the Sutton. Obviously, I think it was about 9 o'clock in the morning. The phone was going literally constant. I just wanted to get home and see the family. So I went back to the ground. I literally walked the pitch and just made sure the pitch was all right as well before I left. And that was the last time I was back at Sutton. Obviously, got in the car, went home, and that's when it all kicked off. I had a phone call about 1 o'clock, and it was, you either resign or we sack you.
So this is when the laughing and the good times and the whole sort of jovial incident got a lot more serious from your point of view.
Yeah, it did. The manager, what have you, literally a chairman, what you've done, it's a betting scare. I said, well, I haven't done anything. I said, it's just a bit of fun. Obviously, they wanted to distance themselves straight away from any betting regulations and all that.
As you can understand, as a football club, that betting and things like that, it must be very hard for their point of view to deal with.
Yeah, everyone's told that, literally, I think it was a season, or during the close season, people come in and say, you're not allowed to gamble on football results or, anything at the level you're at. You can't do anything like that, which is understandable. Literally, from going from height of playing Arsenal and being there, and probably the face of the football club, to literally finding myself out of work first time since I left school was really hard to take.
That must have been a huge emotional journey to go, like you said, to go from being so high to then having to deal with reality. And where do I sort of go from here?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, James. We're saying, from high to low, and it really was. And again, I suffer with anxiety, depression, stress anyway, and I just something didn't sit right with me, and it was real strange. And I'm trying to make a phone call to the manager and say, there's something not right in this situation. And I got put in a hotel room, and it was just unbelievable. And I didn't know, many a man it would have taken down, because they built you up so high, and then literally, from being able to go out for a meal and having a pint to thinking, how am I going to pay the mortgage? It was that bad for me, and only having probably 3-4 jobs in my entire life, and for the first time I've ever been asked to resign or you get sacked, it really plays on the mind.
It's not just that. It's like you said. It's your third stint at Sutton. You've been goalkeeper coach. You've been involved with the club. You've swept the dugouts. This is not something that you did because you were just paid to do. You loved the club. You had an affiliation with, like you said, your work colleagues, and it was a real part of your life, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, it was. Sutton was my life, really. For the 2 years what I was there full time, going on for 2 years, and it was really tough times. But like I say, that's all behind us now. And I look back, and I need to reiterate, there was no meaning. I didn't want to bring anything against the football club to the people for what they've achieved, and I definitely didn't want to take
take the limelight
from the football.
Mark.
Yeah, definitely,
I get that.
And that was how I was perceived. I took all the limelight away from the football club. No way. I tried building that football club up. For recognition of what they've done, and through the rounds, and the club still played a big part of my life, and it is in there as well still.
We come now to the present day. Now I know you're going into being a publican now. You've got other opportunities away from football, whether that be work, family commitments and stuff. Is there a little bit of part of you that would love to return to football? Maybe not even at Sutton United, but to return to football as a goalkeeping coach, or be involved in the game at some level?
No, not now. That it just puts such a dampener on it for me, and I just thought, the game that I loved didn't mean anything to me, and that was really hard. It's like, it's turned its back on me, and it's time to change and do something else.
It's mad, because you go from, like you say, being so high, being on running lad Bible stories and being like a cult figure and people trying to make you on FIFA, to then not being involved in the game. It just seems such a twist and turn of events.
Yeah, like you say, a twist. That's what you can put it down to. It's just, I think things are done for a reason. I really do, and it was. I loved it. Would I do it again? No, I wouldn't do it again.
Really?
No, I wouldn't.
So if you had that time again, you at that Arsenal game, you wouldn't eat that pie.
No, definitely. I can honestly say, because I knew, or if I knew now what I knew then no. Especially with the way that the press are. And the way that it got contrived to the football club, we could have turned it into a positive at the football club. I really do believe that. If I had probably a little bit more support and a bit more time, I should have said, look, nothing's gone on. Why can't we wait until there's an FA hearing or whatever, and do your own bit? But later on down the line, obviously, the FA wanted my views on what went on. I told them, I went to interviews with them. A gambling commission got involved, and it just all turned.
It's heavy stuff.
It was massive. They tried saying spot fixing, and the first thing I said to them when I went there, I said, because at the time, they went through everything. They went through my phone records, my bank statements. Literally, it was a serious thing that they put me through. And I just, something for all a bit of fun. And again, that's all it was. For them to scrutinise me like that, and trying to charge me of literally betting fraud as it was, I couldn't get my head round it. It took a fair while.
Do you think it was the kind of all blown out of proportion? Because he's such, like we said, he's such an iconic moment. It went viral. Then with the aftermath of that and the way that was handled, do you think it just all took a life of itself?
Yeah, it did. I think, there was going to be no story. Sutton weren't going to beat Arsenal. We wanted to get a draw. All along the way, you're just a pub team from South London, and that's how it's played up. And, we probably more like a smaller version of a Wimbledon. That's how we treat ourselves. And it was, and that's probably what got us through as well. But yeah, I just fell out of love straight away with the game.
Got a question for you. Like you mentioned, in your own words, Sutton were never potentially going to beat Arsenal on that night. Do you feel the press built you up to then make a bigger story out of what happened and make you the bad guy? Because you seem to get so much positive press all the way through. Like, from my point of view, you were shown as someone's dad who was playing in goal in the big games, which was a great story, and it was quite brilliant. Because
there was that.
You looked like any man from the pub who could have been involved.
Yeah, like I say, along the way, I've been probably classed myself as a freak of nature. When I played in goal, here we are, we're score 4 or 5 today, and then I'll make a couple of saves, and he can play a bit, and he's got a good distribution, and I've always been on the large side. So, like I say, it's. Do
you think they built you up to then vilify you, though? Is that something that you think about?
Like I was saying about the story, what was the story going to be after that? There was nothing to run with. That was the end of it. But like you say, they built you up, and what like the press do, they built it up, and then they literally hung me out to pie.
Well, didn't help yourself, lad, to be fair. 21 stone man eats pie against Arsenal. It's going to get some headlines, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I say, it's just let's all have a bit of fun. And that's what the journey was for me.
Are you still in touch with any of your old Sutton mates or anyone that you work with at the club and stuff?
Yeah, obviously I had they say goalkeepers are mad. I always, it was a team on its own being a goalkeeper. It's that one position that, you got to be mad and you build. I had Ross Warner, quality keeper, and it was me and him really. And I still speak to Ross, still speak to JC now and again. Bairdy, the assistant manager, I speak to. I've run into Matt Gray, the present manager at the football club now, and Jace Goodliff. I do a little bit of commentary for Radio Solent, and I run into them.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do a bit of commentary, and I've got to say, out of it all, when I did obviously finish at the football club, literally it was about 3-month timescale, but out of all of it, I earned a year's salary. Obviously, on bits and bobs that I'd done, chimichenga, eating challenge, and it was just a different way of life for me.
Did you get offered a job as a pie taster for Morrison's? Is this correct?
Pie taster at Morrison's? No, that was someone phoned up and put that out there. It definitely didn't happen. Well, I obviously the Sun run a couple of stories, and they took me around to different places to try pies and what was the best. I was hoping for a deal from Pucker or something like that, because I think I said Pucker was the pie for the terrace. So I was looking at different avenues to try and earn a few quid.
Oh, mate. Yeah, if there are any other sort of pie suppliers out there that want to contact Wayne Shaw,
feel free.
He is available. Feel free. Coming on to present day, you've got cult status. People know who you are. You're a larger-than-life character. Can you tell us a little bit about your pub and what's going on from it?
Yeah, obviously, when I left Sutton, and literally I was probably 3 or 4 months, and then I went to work at AFC Sutton, my local football club. I was doing a bit on the commercial side there, and I saw an opportunity. And along the way, with the money that I earned, I'll say I got my salary really. I bought myself a hog roast, a barbecue, and I saw an opportunity at the football club.
You bought a business opportunity. You didn't just go and get a hog roast roll, did you?
No, yeah, literally a business, yeah, hog roast business. And I was building things, and it went really well. I was doing the catering side, and then I was commercial manager, and then general manager, and then an opportunity arose 5 months ago, or 5 6 months ago now, talking to the landlord or the owner of the pub, Eric. It's called the Sam Elite Pub, and he asked me whether I would be interested in franchising the kitchen that is at the pub. And I just asked him what he wanted to do or what his plans were, and he just turned around and said, "Look, I want to retire, I want to get out. So, yeah, next Tuesday I will become a pub landlord."
Oh, brilliant! If anyone is built to be a pub landlord, it's got to be you, Wayne. Surely, like you've got stories for days. You've had always the big night moments to talk about, and you genuinely are a sort of people person. Not to mention your love for pies. So yeah, it sounds like you're onto a winner.
That's the number one seller. I did get involved in a little, obviously, a little pie business myself. I bought myself a pie mash trailer as well, so I still got that. Out of something bad, something good comes, and like I said earlier on, I think it probably was meant to be, and it's weird how it turns around. We've sat here 3 years later.
Yeah, nearly 3 years to the day. I did try to get you for the anniversary, Wayne, I've got to say. But yeah.
Yeah, 3 years. Like I say, 3 years and a couple of days over that. And, I'm pastures new and looking forward to the next challenge in my life. And, looking forward to trying to drive the business on. I've done it AFC Sutton. I turned that around for them there and just put them on the map a little bit more. Not being big-headed or anything, but it just, obviously you got to use what you've got, and my passion is food and beverage, and obviously I managed to come out the other end.
Me as well, mate. My passion is also food and beverage.
Yeah, so, and like I say, I'm just looking forward to taking the opportunity and try and to build on what I've got, and the pie probably will be my number one seller, along with my decent cooked breakfast that I do.
Fantastic to chat to you and hear some of your stories and stuff, because I'm only ever hearing you on things like Question of Sport now. You've become a trivial question across the country. It's fantastic to hear you and put your story into words, mate.
Yeah, no, I think there's a few other, like I say, few other things that come about from it as well, apart from, like you say, the questions and stuff like that. And yeah, I've always got a story in it. People don't realise obviously what the FA done with it as well. Obviously I was saying about spot fixing earlier on. They didn't literally they dropped that charge, and like I say, when I got the job at Sutton, it was on the commercial front. They actually got in touch about 3-4 months later, and they brought a total different charge against me. And for them to do that, it was just I
really,
yeah, they brought a.
So you thought everything was over? You started your new job away from everything, and then you were pulled back in.
Yeah, they pulled me back in. This was probably September time. I went back. I asked for a hearing, because I did literally say to them, "Look, this has gone on too long. If I roll over, you tickle my belly, what will you give me?" And their answer to me was, "We don't know, because no one's ever been charged with it." So they obviously they put something in along them lines. And I got a £350 fine, a 2-month ban from all football. And that meant I couldn't work, so I couldn't earn a living for my family again, and £500 costs. So really, it was a slap on the wrist. They just had to be seen to be doing something, but I just wish they would have put the money that they spent bringing me to the FA and stuff like that, to put it back into grassroots football. I don't know why they didn't do that, because there was really nothing. And when they turned around to me and said, you wanted to make yourself a celebrity, I just said, no, you're the ones that done that by bringing this to the foray.
Man, let's put things into into perspective here. The man ate a pie during a football match. Yes, he was on the bench. But if he was a normal 10-stone goalie, would it have got so much traction, so much attention? Is that Wayne's fault? These are questions I've been pondering all day.
No, definitely, like you say, a 10-stone goal, it would have been, wouldn't have been done. And you know, along the way, you had Paul Merson playing in a charity game, and then half there on the bench eating things, and just really, it's just like you say, it's surreal, and looking back on it, it is funny, but obviously not what happened. And again, I've got to reiterate that, you know, for the football club itself, you know, there's no way that I wanted to bring the good name of Sutton United into a bad name.
I appreciate that. Who you played with in these charity games then? Any big players?
Yeah, you get around. I played in a Lee Rigby charity game for 2 years now, and you know, you have Michael Moles, people that like at Rangers that were the, you know, big players. Rodney Wallace. You had.
Do they turn up, or are they actually really competitive and serious with it, or is everyone sort of a bit different?
Yeah, no. Footballers, there never is such a thing as a friendly or a charity game. You know, once you get out there, you just want to win no matter what.
Noticed this.
But yeah, along the way, you know, I've met some great people, and you know, obviously played with some quality lads as well. And it's you know, it's nice just to now and again just get yourself out there and have a game of football. But like I say, it's not the be and end all for me now.
Got a question for you. Our chosen charity of choice is the Wonderwall Cup. They run annually at Millwall. Going to put you on the spot here. What's the odds of getting you to play a half and eat a pie at the Wonderwall Cup?
Give me the date, mate, and I'll make it.
Come on. Got to say, the last one was absolutely brilliant, and well done to everyone for turning out.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna hold you to that. We're gonna play a half at the Wonderwall Cup. The boys will love that.
You get a kit to fit me.
Wayne, I've got to say, it's a great pleasure to spend a bit of time with you. Thank you very much for talking to Full Court Football, mate. And I look forward to catching you up again real soon. Thank you.
Brilliant. Cheers, James.